First of all, I don't believe the job of the press is to be a prosecutor. I believe the job of a prosecutor is to be a prosecutor. Our job is to find out what's going on, what's really going on. I don't believe that there's some pseudoscience called investigative journalism. I think all good reporting is the same thing. Whether you're reporting on a football game, whether you're reporting on the presidency, whether you're reporting on Congress, whether you're reporting on business. The best obtainable version of the truth. What does it mean to get the best obtainable version of the truth? How did we get the best obtainable version of the truth in His Holiness John Paul II and the hidden history of our time? We went to talk to the people who knew the man and the situation the best. And we listened. I believe that reporters are awful listeners. And maybe the reason I've been successful as a reporter is I'm a better listener than most reporters. I go in to see someone, and I don't go in with a preconceived notion of what the story is. I'm not wedded, or if I have a preconceived notion of what it is, I'm not wedded to that, because I know the wonderful thing about being a reporter is I'm going to be surprised. The story is not going to be what I think it is. At the beginning of Watergate, I was absolutely convinced that the CIA was behind the break-in at Watergate. I never thought for a minute that Richard Nixon and his administration were behind it. But I wasn't wed to this idea. I went out and I talked to people, and soon it became apparent that the Nixon people were responsible, not the CIA. So, but today, when you talk about a denouncing journalism, I'm not sure exactly what you mean.
Pervading.
But I'm more interested. I think we learn more when we listen. People said, how are you going to get into the Vatican, Bernstein? You know, it's like the Kremlin there. Well, it is like the Kremlin a bit. But I went and I called people up and I was respectful and I said, I want to know about this man. Tell me about this man. The same way people told me about Nixon and what was going on in his White House. The people who were sources of information in the Nixon years were people who worked for Richard Nixon. They weren't Democrats. They weren't his opponents. I think that I don't want to generalize too much because there's still some great reporting being done. I think, though, that Watergate itself threw an awful lot of attention that journalists have gotten, that we have gotten particularly, that there is a tendency to look at our function as prosecutorial, as to catch people lying. I think we have forgotten that very often that real life is mostly in a gray area. It's not black, it's not white. That we are beginning to ask of public officials standards that no human being could meet. I mean, come on, all of us have had problems in our lives. I mean, this gentleman referred to my marriage. I mean, we've all had problems in our lives. That's what life is about, and how we deal with problems. At the same time, when you have, the truth is also very much about context. Our journalism lacks context today.
O senhor acha que
Context.